We're back again, We're back again. Well, look, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to another glorious episode of the phenomenon known to mankind, a Saturday afternoon's main event. Such a historic week in the world of professional wrestling. So much to talk about, so much to get into, so much to have strife, chaos, angst, and turmoil with. All that seems like a good episode for Saturday afternoon's main event. But before I invite my co-host and my comrade in, before we get into today's such topics, I got a gripe with you, the audience. Yes, because for some reason, after how many years of having to do this introduction, you would plausibly think that you pieces of monkey crap would know who in the blue hell I am. And if you don't, then I suggest you go back to school or go into your local library, get the biggest dictionary you can find on mankind, and look up the word phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a phenomenal one. And of course, here on Saturday afternoon's main event, I'm not alone because, of course, I have my Rolex or G-Shock wearing, certainly no wedding ring wearing because my boy is a bachelor. So ladies, get up at him. Limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun, who is not having a hard time holding his alligators down. Guys, this is my brother, my comrade, family from another mother dimension. Guys, come on, put up a warm welcome. Give me 2 claps and a peep stage.
Woo!
There we go.
Yes, sir.
Nah,
there
peeps,
we go.
Come on, I need a better woo than that. I'm shouting you out with the ladies.
Woo! There you go.
There we go.
Get it all in there, right there. We got a great Saturday afternoon, like we usually do, and of course, we can't do a great Saturday afternoon without the 3 tenets that we always live by, and that is laughs, good times, and woo, all the wrestling news possible. There you go. Get it all in there in one fell swoop.
Absolutely. But beyond all, peeps, welcome to the show, my friend. Of course, once, like I just said, long wrestling week, right?
Nothing really big happened, did it? You know, we have since the last 7 days, nothing major has happened that we can think of. Oh, wait a minute.
What can you possibly think of? I mean, you know, we've had a controversial retirement.
Mm-hmm.
We had a return, 2 returns, I may add. Okay, so that's already 3 things right there.
Okay.
A glorious botch that I know they don't teach in universities.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? A legend leaving the company? No, that's a lot. Peeps, that is a lot. But you know what? It's all right because we never waste any time with this kind of stuff. We're going to get right into it for you guys, the fans. But most of all, peeps, I'm glad that you're here, my friend. And to the fans, of course, you know, I'm a tweener. It's okay, guys. But the fact of the matter is that within this world of professional wrestling, within this world of podcasting, doing shows, and whatever the case may be, all the wrestling content creators, it takes a lot for us to be able to go ahead and sit there and genuinely speak the topic of professional wrestling to you guys. It takes so much work, so much determination from all of us here at Saturday Afternoon's Main Event. So beyond all, we appreciate you guys, the watchers that watch on, who knows, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, whatever the case may be, sharing the show throughout our social media platforms. We appreciate you guys. We thank you. If you're new to the show, this is your first time here today, all you got to do is one thing only. Follow us on our social media platforms, Instagram being at Saturday Afternoons_main event, Twitter being Saturday Main, and of course our TikTok to give you guys news, and of course entertainment throughout the week. All you gotta do is one thing only. Again, TikTok being Saturday afternoons ME. Go give us a follow on that. So without further ado, I think it's only fair that we go ahead and get started with today's show, right, peeps?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, perfect, guys. You hear the song going on. It's time for one thing and one thing only. It is time for 3 Rope Talk. All of the wrestling news featured within the confines of the squared circle. Without that being said, peeps, let's go ahead and get into the first topic. Saturday night's main event.
Yes.
We are officially a week removed, peeps, from that event. Look, where do you want me to start? Obafemi Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
Such a good match to begin with, although I hated the finish. And then, of course, you know, I understand I get all the good things for the future, but if you knew that was what Drew was going to be doing, you know, I would have went some way differently about it. I think you would have as well. But all in all, it was a good match.
Yes.
The tag team match between AJ Styles and Dragon Lee going up against, of course, Leon Slater and Javon Evans. Why did it have to be so short? Why? Kid, like, you know, what was the case, right? You had all of that, and 7 minutes for those type of men. I was expecting a good 15-minute battle. That would have been great for me.
Yes.
It was like a legacy of high flyers, past, present, future, and it's like I was getting good stuff out of it. But the fact that they moved to the finish so quickly, I kind of had a gripe with that. Sol Ruka. And I think all the fans are asking this. You wouldn't want to roll up and not the Soul Snatcher, but
yeah,
I think it's only fair that you can go ahead and put in one for me, peeps, because I digressed on that one. I don't even want to speak on that.
We're putting 2 of them there because I was about to say the same thing. There you go. You got 2 I digresses in the same instance.
Yeah, that's something you write. That has to be its inaugural. Okay, you know what?
Yes.
I'm already loving this episode, guys.
Yes,
but,
a double digress.
That is insane. That is insane. But
yes,
of course, the highlight of everyone's night and everyone's wrestling viewership, as I can say, possibly for the last 20 years, John Cena retired. We knew it was going to happen. It's okay, guys. That was the call.
Yes.
Thing number 2. Gunther is, if not by far, one of the greatest professional wrestlers of the modern era. Why? Because I feel like he is one of the very few at WWE who genuinely respect the sport, who genuinely upkeep the prestige of professional wrestling, and not only that, keeps it classic within the ring. There was no other better guy for John Cena to put over. I will stand on that mountain for the rest of my life. But I have to say, when we knew that Gunther was going to face John Cena after he beat LA Knight, and he cut that quick promo, but genuinely heartfelt, and the antithesis of this whole storyline for the last 2 weeks and a half. Cena, I will make you tap, and I will make you give up. That was the main title. And peeps, from that point on, I remember I called you immediately after, and I was like, John Cena is definitely losing.
Yes.
Come next week, Saturday. But peeps, I feel like he will pass out. Due to the brigade, due to the storyline, due to all of the pushing. Peeps, there was no way in hell, right? We sat there and said to ourselves, John Cena's going to tap.
Yes.
We found John Cena taking a pin more plausible than John Cena tapping.
Yes.
Only because of one solid reason. The motto, the mantra of the one and only John Cena for the last 20 plus years. 3 words. Never give up. And when you sit there and look at all of that, when you sit there and see how many people live by that story, by that phrase, peeps, I'm sure we've seen the videos of cancer patients, kids with different types of health issues, close to the end of life, but you see how they live by the never give up. Because the one person that they enjoyed sitting in front of their TV screens and watching lived by that mantra.
That is correct.
So you would have thought that if you're going to have Cena go out being loved by each and every single one of the audience, go out being the individual that he was, standing by those 3 words, if we thought that Cena was going to go out and live up to that, we wouldn't be here right now talking about this. Fast forward, he taps. And guys, if you're one of those individuals who are completely crapping on it, like myself, because I may add, yes, I kind of have my gripe with it. It shouldn't have been a tap. I think everybody lives up to that mantra of saying that it shouldn't be a tap. Peeps, a couple of days ago, I should say yesterday, John Cena went ahead and posted a picture of Obi-Wan Kenobi on his social media platforms. And of course, Obi-Wan goes out, gives himself away, dying with a smile. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. Cena wanted to show the world, look, I gave my all. This is what this has meant to me for the last how many years. I now can't do what I used to do before. And I think now I can't even go ahead and sit there and continue to be Superman inside the squared circle. It's not the end of me. It's just the end of me from professional wrestling. Him going ahead and sitting there as he's in the chokehold from Gunther, poetic indeed. It was certainly something to continuously watch because I've watched it the whole week. But he sits there and he is in the submission, smiles, politely taps. I sat there and I looked at that and I was like, you know what? It wasn't like he was tapping out of desperation. He tapped with a smile on his face. It's okay. I'll take it. Peeps, what were your thoughts?
During the discussion that we both had away from this, directly after the show was over, and we kind of did a post-mortem in our phone call, we talked about this. Yep. And the one thing that, first of all, that we agreed upon last week was that there was no way that Cena was winning this match. We saw this from a mile away. He was going to go out on his shield. He was going to do what he would normally do. And that's how most faces who are going to have a big retirement match want to finish their career, losing to the person that they were going to go into the ring with. So you will never hear me say that they got the wrong decision as far as who won and who lost the match, because Walter deserved to win this match.
I agree.
Based on this, and I gave you the description of what I think of Walter, whereas he is literally Stan Hansen and Kurt Angle rolled up into one. He is, without question, a beastly wrestler who has science and psychology and has fear. And the reason why they built this up is because literally of what the WWE did to build Brock Lesnar. Brock was already a beast. Brock needed the extra edge to make him a continual attraction. What did they do? What did Vince do? He had him end the Undertaker streak. Even though I completely disagree with it, you disagree with it, and everybody that's been either a WrestleMania fan or an Undertaker aficionado will say that shouldn't have happened. But absolutely. I'm not booking, and it's not my company. Now, the reason why Brock still has the cachet of coming in and getting that instant gratification outside of him being just a genetic freak in the ring is because he still has the cachet of that rub for beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania and ending his streak.
Indeed.
Now I'll go back to this. In ring, this was needed for Walter. Walter right now, as I dubbed him last week, is Legend Killer 2.0. I think the stories that are going to come out of this are going to be Walter will be retiring other wrestlers come next year. I think that this is going to be the opponent that finishes AJ's career. If Brock is going to be done next year, I have a feeling that's what's going to be the case, and he'll end his career as well. And I think that in doing so, it also boosted Walter to, if you hated him before, he has, if you watched Raw, absolute white hot nuclear heat. You couldn't get near him and not get singed by how much heat he's drawing now. He's getting, dare I say it, Dominic Mysterio early Judgment Day heat, where he couldn't even finish a sentence in a promo. Now, to tie that into what happened with Cena, what makes this work the way it should have is if Cena had passed out in the sleeper hold. And the funny thing about it is, I almost went move for move of exactly how this match was going to end. In the sleeper, the reversal, the AA, into the STF, the reversal, into the sleeper, back into... That's what I was picturing in my head would happen. What I did not expect was Cena tapping and grinning. And at the end, I have no problem with all of the things that happened afterwards. All of the accolades, the wrestlers coming out from the back, the wrestlers that were in the front row, all of the stars, the celebrities, Haku, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, a lot of other people that were there that are friends of Cena's that owed him that were there at ringside. All of that was great. The only issue that I had was John Cena tapping out. And they can spin it in so many different ways and make it believable. And if that's what they want to do, yes. But I think that it would have been a bigger, impactful deal had Cena passed out and would have stayed true to the mantra of where he went. And they could have done that afterwards. But they went with what they went through. And the conundrum now is to see if that has affected Cena in any way as far as his legacy goes. Because from what I've seen, after what I saw on Monday, I think in their mind, they went the right way.
I agree wholeheartedly. Morton's Law, Mr. Christopher Morton, Mr. 411 is in the chat. Of course, guys, he is currently going through some certain, things. He's, kind of have throat sickness. No, guys, not chlamydia. But the fact of the matter is that he chimes in. He says that Gunther retirement tour, Cena, AJ next, then Orton. Heat. Yeah. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah.
I think Brock really is on that list also. Brock, if Brock, from what we've been saying, if Brock retires next year, because we've been hearing next year may be the last time that Brock does any active in-ring work. If that's the case, perfectly set him up for a match with him at SummerSlam. Where is SummerSlam going to be next year? I'm glad you asked. It's going to be in Minnesota, where Brock is originally from. And that would make the most sense. But you know how you kind of season that up? You get those two in the ring at WrestleMania, and you say, let's see where we go from there.
And peeps, oh boy, will it be a showdown.
Yes.
He also chimes in on Obi-Wan Kenobi. He says, nature's Obi-Wan jabroni.
Of course.
Hot Rod 316's in the chat. He says, were you disappointed that Cena didn't give a speech? No. Him going ahead, looking back at everyone, Punk and Cody going into the ring, giving him the titles and putting them on his shoulder, kind of reminiscent to me being a young kid seeing Batista and Cena do the same for Hogan.
Yes.
I am above the mindset that was indeed a beautiful tribute. All of the people that were ringside, all of the wrestlers, Charles Robinson, who I saw shedding tears, Kevin Owens, it was enough.
Yes.
It was enough. Him putting his boots, his armbands in the ring, it was enough.
I think he gave you his speech this whole year. Yep. Everything that he's done this year was his speech.
It was a love story to the fans.
Yes, the dedication, especially the matches that he had, where he was pulling off moves of other wrestlers that he's had feuds with, doing the trying to do the GTS, the match that he had with AJ Styles, all the matches that he had with Cody Rhodes, and all of the other in-ring work that he'd done this year, everything that he did in-ring was his retirement speech.
I agree. And just him going back up there. And the only words he said was intimately to the fans. You know, did the salute, said, I thank you for letting me serve you all these years. And that was it.
Yes.
And beyond all else, that was enough for me. There was no need for a speech. It wasn't like I needed to hear one from Goldberg. Thank you, Bret Hart. But beyond anything else, I feel that the ending was an ending and a send-off needed for somebody like Cena. Everything from that matter. But I do have one thing. I feel like Triple H is not going to have to start listening up.
Oh, yes.
Because, those fans, oh, man, the UF'd up chants, the people outside the arena during the post-show chanting AEW, which you went ahead and mentioned to me, peeps, and I had to look back to see it. Look, he finally never listened to us. I guess now he's going to have to listen to the fans in the arena that actually pay the money, right?
Yes.
But it is what it is. That was Saturday night's main event. Beyond all else, we move to the next piece of news here on Saturday afternoon's main event. After this opens up Three Row Talk, we are talking a wrestling legend leaving the WWE. We're talking Mick Foley. Peeps, where do we see this go wrong?
Well, we touched on some of this over the last couple of weeks as far as what the WWE does and their political leanings, so to speak. I don't think it's a secret that the WWE, at least from the McMahons and Triple H and everybody within that company, leans towards the conservative end. That's kind of how they've been kind of constructed. We've seen Triple H go to the White House many times. We've seen the current president, Donald Trump, who's now, I believe, in the WWE's Hall of Fame. He's been active with the companies. He's hosted 2 WrestleManias at Trump Towers, WrestleMania 4 and 5. So we know that has been part of the DNA of the WWE as far as the attention to some of the things that they do outside of in-ring work. Well, Mick Foley, being the person that he is a staunch liberal and has gone against what the WWE in his mind represents. And he said that was part of the decision that he made to not re-sign with WWE when his Legends contract expires. I believe it's in June. And he is going to move on from WWE because of those political leanings, so to speak. And I think that's one of the things when they bring in politics in the WWE, which is definitely rooted into the company. Those are the kinds of things that you kind of run the risk for if you are not a fan of politics, whether it's the backstage politics or overall politics in general. And I think that's where Mick Foley is kind of leaning towards.
I agree. Just a quick Christopher Moore with TKO logo should be a swastika.
Wow.
At this point, it seems like they're trending in that direction, right, peeps?
Wow. I didn't see that one coming. But I tell you right now, there are a lot of wrestling fans that have actually brought up discussions about what the WWE is doing, where they're going, what their connections are. And I think a lot of people opened their eyes when they signed that huge deal with Saudi Arabia and wondered, well, why would they do that? And it hasn't really hit the WWE fan base until they realized that WrestleMania is going to be in Saudi Arabia. And then it goes back to some of the discussions that other people have politically. Where is this company? Where do their loyalties lie? And what are they trying to promote? And I think it's becoming, for some fans or a lot of fans, very hard for them to reconcile the conundrum of being a fan and then seeing what the WWE, at least people higher ups, what they may represent. And I think that is going to bring fans to a crossroads of their fandom as to why they root for the WWE or in particular.
Indeed. Well, peeps, beyond all else, with Mick Foley being the first one, do you think there will be plenty more following this?
I think Foley is unique in the fact that he has been retired from in-ring work for the last 15 years. We haven't really seen him in ring on a regular basis since his TNA days. And although he has made appearances in WWE here and there sporadically, and he'll show up and say something or do something, he's no longer wrestling in ring. So he doesn't have that ideal behind him as far as if I say something that may tweak somebody in one of the higher ups, he is uniquely able to absolve and absorb some of the criticism per se. I don't think there are going to be too many wrestlers on the current roster that are trying to continue with a career outside of certain things in social media that they may say that would jeopardize their position within the company by going public with anything, unless they really have the courage of their convictions to say otherwise.
Okay. Well, then we'll just wait to see what happens within that sense. But that is Mick Foley leaving the WWE once his contract expires in June.
Yes, I believe it expires in June. Yes.
Just a couple more months of possibly seeing Mick Foley t-shirts on WWE Shop, guys. Get your Cactus Jack wanted shirts as soon as possible. Now, look, beyond all else, we'll move to the world of AEW / the Indies. Andrade, his release clause is up. About damn time. He was at House of Glory last night, made an impromptu show up and appearance there. I guess we all know that all roads lead back to AEW. Peeps, how we feeling?
I'm glad that he thanked his lawyers a couple of weeks ago when we brought the story up that they were trying to work on getting his release from his contract. In the fine print that apparently either he did not know about or was not aware of or just, ignored. We don't know what that part of the story is. But in any event, we know that the end result is he wants out from WWE. He's talked about how he wanted to be out from WWE, and we saw him on AEW television just a couple of months ago. So the fact that he now showed up at an independent show, that means within how many weeks or days he may show up. Maybe he shows up at World's End. Who knows? We don't know as far as what's going to happen next, but we do know that he's finally free to go where he would like. And WWE has finally allowed him to do that. And it makes the most sense. Why hold him hostage if he doesn't want to be there? Exactly. So that's where I think it's good for him to be able to move on.
Okay. Well then, I think I feel the same way, especially when it comes to terms of that release clause being a year. Who makes that?
Yes, that was a bit egregious as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
yes.
That is a bit egregious. Bad on AEW's end. But beyond all else, look, I'm just glad to know that Andrade is going straight back to AEW, doing his best work, doing what he possibly always does, which is perform and put on a show for the fans of professional wrestling. But moving on, speaking of AEW, Sports Illustrated might actually be on AEW payroll. I know all of you wrestling fans know about this because it was posted on almost every single wrestling platform. The Sports Illustrated Wrestlers of the Year, Matches of the Year, all these different year-end awards, right?
Yes. Yes. Their variation of the PWI awards, which I have always called the Bible of professional wrestling.
AEW centered, by the way.
Yes. This is very AEW centric. Very.
Don't tell me you have the names listed too.
Not only do I have the names listed, the entire list was on AEW's website. And let's see. Promotion of the year is AEW. Female wrestler of the year is Mercedes Moné. Male wrestler of the year is Adam Page. Tag team of the year, FTR, which I'm not going to complain about that one. Best in the ring, Will Ospreay. Best on the mic, Timeless Tony Storm. Best breakout wrestler of the year, Kyle Fletcher. Storyline of the year, Hangman Adam Page's redemption arc. Redemption arc. Go figure. Rivalry of the year, Adam Page and Jon Moxley, and show of the year is Double or Nothing back in May. That was the first Double or Nothing that they did. I believe it was in Arizona. It wasn't in Las Vegas this year. So that was the entire awards lineup that they did. Not a single WWE name mentioned, not a single TNA mention.
Now, peeps, I went back to see. Comeback Performer of the Year is Ilya Dragunov.
Okay.
And heel turn of the year goes to Naomi.
Interesting.
And not to forget, I think the only one that I genuinely wanted to see what they were going to say and I cared about, match of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair at Mania 41.
Okay. I am not going to be mad at that choice because that is, as far as I'm concerned, and I've told you this before, that was my favorite match of the entire WrestleMania card from both nights. So, but other than that, this was a weird awards
10 for 13.
lineup.
10 for 13, peeps. Look, shoot, if that's what they're calling it is, I guess that's what they're calling it as, peeps. I just, wow. Damn.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds really odd. A lot of people look at award shows and then they wonder, depending on who's giving the awards, whether it was a kayfabe award type show, like the Slammies were with the WWE, or was it like the PWI awards where they actually do based on the in-ring work and they actually have a formula to pick out who the PWI out of the PWI 500, and then they do their awards, Wrestler of the Year, Tag Team of the Year, those kinds of things. So yeah, it's kind of interesting how they probably came up to these conclusions, but very AEW centric for those awards, that's for sure.
I agree. But within all else, peeps, I think that marks the end of 3 Rope Talk here today. Peeps, look, I think that was okay. Before we go ahead and end this first half of Same, give me the ratings.
Gotcha. We got the ratings. Finally, the AEW ratings came in about half an hour ago. So we were kind of up against the clock and we got those. But NXT won once again over AEW Dynamite. NXT did 607,000 viewers with a 0.08 in the demo, whereas AEW Dynamite did 511,000 with a 0.08 in the demo themselves. So although the rating, I should say the viewership was down, the demo was down a little bit as well. But overall, NXT dropped from last week, and you can probably attribute it to some of the games that were on, sports as far as that goes. But we're at the latter part of the year, bowl season, bowl games. We know those kinds of things are going to be happening. I'm going to be interested in finding out, because we know there was a comeback with a particular wrestler by the name of MJF. And even though he returned to AEW Dynamite, it didn't help their ratings. So that is kind of, I don't know if you can say that's a clue as to what happened with it. Maybe they should have, it's a surprise. They're not going to promote the surprise. You shouldn't know what's going to happen. But yes, they were in England. This was a show that was taped. It wasn't live. So who knows? Maybe certain aspects of it were broken online. I stayed away from the internet news so that I would be genuinely surprised when I watched the show. But the ratings kind of showcased that they were at a little under 512,000.
Which isn't, I don't even know at this point.
Yeah, it's really odd. The bar seems to keep changing with AEW's programming, even with the new focus on the Nielsen ratings, their weird ratings. I'll give you another rating that actually improved since. And I see my partner raising his hand because he's watching that. I know why. So I'll leave that one alone for a quick second. But as far as SmackDown's rating, SmackDown did 1.24 million, and they did a 0.26 in the demo. That's the highest that the highest rating that they've had since the Nielsen reconfigured ratings. The previous biggest number that they had done was 1.3 million. That's going all the way back to September the 12th. So that's the biggest number that they've done since September. So the SmackDown numbers are improving, and the eyeballs are coming back to the show.
Indeed.
Yes.
But I have to say, peeps, two of the highlights of the week, especially from both shows, NXT. Thea Hale going ahead and winning the NXT Women's North American Championship from Blake Monroe off a botched pin.
Yes.
And, good grief.
Weird.
WWE's going to have a field day with this. I just know it. I mean, the IWC has already had a field day with it, so it's okay. It is what it is.
Oh, yeah. They have raked NXT. They've raked this whole thing over the coals for the last 4 or 5 days. Basically, if you're looking at it, for those that didn't see it, Blake Monroe was defending the Women's North American Championship against Thea Hale. Thea Hale went for a springboard senton and tried to roll Blake Monroe back to the middle of the ring. And for those that didn't see it, she tried to roll her to the middle of the ring, but she wasn't moving, so she rolled her closer towards the ropes. Thea Hale goes for the pin. The referee counts 1, 2, then counts 3. But Blake Monroe throws her right shoulder up at the last possible second. And they stop the match. They play Thea Hale's music for a quick second. They stop. They play Blake Monroe's music for a second. Then they stop. And then you could see people running around on the outside trying to get attention as to what are we going to do? What are we going to do? The ring announcer finally makes the announcement that Thea Hale has won the championship. And there we go.
Yep.
So apparently what was supposed to happen, what we think happened, is that Blake Monroe might have gotten the wind knocked out of her and didn't kick out as assertively as she should have.
Yep.
And in these situations, usually they tell the referee, if you know what the 3 count is, it's the onus is on the wrestler to kick out, knowing that this is the part of the match where you're supposed to kick out. If you don't know, I'm going to count 3, and whatever the decision is the decision, because you don't want to blow up the match and sell out the business by doing that. So I think that's kind of where you're at to make sure. That's where that is. And the residual effect of that is that this was taped. There were 2 more weeks of television that were taped for NXT that they've had to change on the fly because the creative that they were going with actually was going to continue on the aspect of Blake Monroe winning and Thea Hale probably doubting herself because she didn't win. And that's where they were going. They had to scrap all of that on the fly. And even more so, a lot of wrestlers, when NXT taping is over with, when they're done, they go home. Now they're being told that they're going to have to stay until the show is actually over, just in case of something like this happening again. So a lot of crazy things happen out of just that one botched instance there on television.
Of course. But indeed, the highlight for AEW being what we talked about last week, and it was thinking about and kind of like agreeing with some of the wrestling sites that were predicting that this was going to happen, that it needed to happen, and indeed it did happen. MJF is back in AEW, doing his thing best, signed over his contract to go ahead and be included in the AEW World Title match at World's End, which is now a fatal 4-way, being with MJF, Hangman Adam Page, Swerve Strickland, and the world champion Samoa Joe. Peeps, isn't it amazing when you actually get to see amazing mic work on AEW television?
Yes.
You talk about MJF with his first promo after being back from filming movies.
Yes.
Good grief, peeps.
Yes.
Everything from the Diddy line, okay, to saying that rent's due and the devil has come to collect.
Yes.
Peeps, I'm actually excited here. I'm ready to see what AEW has to offer when it comes to that world title picture.
Do you notice the feeling around the AEW product when MJF is back and on television? And it was intelligently done. Now, you had brought up last week that the reports were going to be because on Dynamite, they were doing the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal that they usually do. And usually the winner of the Battle Royal will eventually get a title shot down the road. They've done 5 of these things. And MJF prior was the only winner of these battle royals. So a lot of people kind of thought, well, he'll show up because maybe he'll be in the battle royal, whatever. Indeed. All of us completely forgot he still had a title match that he did not use after the match he had at Forbidden Door with Hangman Adam Page, where, remember, he was like, I'm going to get the title shot. I'm supposed to use my contract that I won. He completely decided against it. And if you remember, he tried to beat up Mark Briscoe and tried to set him on fire or tried to do something to him and change Page's mind. So that means he still had that match in his back pocket. None of us remembered any of that important detail. And they brought that back on camera, and the intelligence behind it worked. Those are the kinds of things that AEW needs to do more of to get the attention and the feeling back, because you felt invested in that entire promo, and every person that he addressed in that ring, he has beef with. Page, he just wants to show him up. Joe, he wants because it was Joe that ended his world title reign, ironically, at World's End.
Exactly.
And Swerve, he wants to get back at Swerve because, as he mentioned in the promo, he was one of the people that actually helped get him into the WWE, which he made a nice quib. Oh, that's a great company to work for. Like, wow. Okay. So, yes, MJF, great job, great promo, and brought a lot of great attention into that match now that everybody wants to see it. Now, Fatal 4-Ways and 3-Ways, we've always lamented as lazy booking.
Indeed.
But the way that this was booked and the fact that MJF is back after being off of TV for so long, I think that the intrigue and the curiosity is there just based on the fact that MJF is back.
All is well in All Elite Wrestling, right?
I wouldn't say all is right, but they've got a lot to work on, but this is a start to doing something.
Oh well. We got World's End, and then we have a full 365 days to see what AEW can have planned for the fans of pro wrestling. Of course, guys, this would more than Mr. 401 says Nate secretly marks for AEW. Can you imagine?
Boy.
Is that really you? Don't tell me.
I mark for wrestling in general. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. And we all know I have been said good things about AEW when it's warranted, but I've also buried AEW when it's needed. And I think, like I said, for just this actually works for the match itself, because they needed something in that world title match to bring more attention to it. And that's a start. They got way too many other problems that they have to worry about, as evidenced by the fact that their ratings continue to be sub 550, 600, etc. But in general, that's a start. I'm giving you a positive there.
I agree. But, well, look, peeps, that marks the end of the first half of Same. Of course, guys, we appreciate you guys. We thank you guys for going ahead and tuning in. You want to keep up with more latest wrestling news and updates, all you got to do is one thing and one thing only. Follow us on our social media platforms, Instagram being Saturday Afternoon's main event, _main event, and of course, Twitter being Saturday Main, and TikTok being Saturday Afternoon's ME. But with that being said, peeps, I think it's only fair that we move into our question of the week so that way we can go ahead and round out to our final topic. So, look, let's not waste any time in doing that, peeps.
Let's do it.
Beyond all else. Now, look, question of the week, guys. You already know we enjoy this. We thank you guys for going ahead and sending in the questions, but we only get to show one. Now, guys, you want to go ahead and send one for next week? Please do so. All you got to do is one thing and one thing only. DM us on Instagram at Saturday Afternoons _main event. And in the words of JBL, if it's good, I guarantee it'll be on the next episode of the show. With that being said, Master Sean 007 rounds out this week's question by saying, greetings, gentlemen. In my opinion, this year showed the most growth for Same. So what surprises should the fans expect from you guys in 2026?
That's That's actually a pretty good question.
Should we expect Nate to be bald?
Not that much growth.
Just saying, my friend.
I understand.
But jokes aside, when it comes down to it again, thank you as a fan that you're seeing that, and that you feel that, in your opinion, that we growed a lot this year. We thank you for that. If a lot of fans think the same way, we appreciate you guys. We thank you. In all seriousness, I feel like the more we go, the more that we just kind of get comfortable with how the show is, how we run it, how we push it. Of course, by the week, by the months, we'll always try to evolve. We'll always try to do something different. But the most greatest thing that I feel like you guys should expect is the consistency, the more in-depth sense of news, and in the words of JBL, I guarantee, peeps, mark it down now, December 20th, 2025. Next year, we will get ourselves our first interview with our professional wrestler. I'm calling this now. Setting it in stone, speaking it into the universe. Guys, we're making sure Same goes mainstream. We're genuinely going to make sure of that. So do not worry, it will happen. But Master Sean 007, I'd like to appreciate that question. Shout out to you, man.
Yes, we have grown as a show over the last almost 5 years now. And with all of the things that we've done from where we started, with when you started doing the show with your friend Julius Caesar, and then from where we've gone to today, and Mr. 411 being with here, and your go being on the show as well.
Yes, indeed.
We as a show have grown. I thank you for me being part of the show and including me and all of us from where we started to the initial start of our show over 30 years ago with the original cast of characters, and to bring it here and have moved it on. And we're nothing without the fans that watch the show, those that engage with us, and the fact that there is a wrestling business to continue to fall in love with on a regular basis. Now, true, it doesn't always treat us fans great, but when it does, we still get happy. So yes, as wrestling fans, we're happy for that. And as fans of Same, we thank you for letting us continue to do what we do best. So thank you.
Indeed, I agree. Well, with that being said, that marks the end of that. Guys, again, you want to go ahead and have your question highlighted for the next week episode of Saturday Afternoon's Main Event. If you really want to be able to get your question on the show and you think that you have something that you can challenge us with, go ahead and send it into our Instagram DMs at Saturday Afternoons_main event. And again, it'll be featured on the next episode of the show if it's that damn good. But with that being said, we get to our last topic of today's show. You hear Iron Man playing in the background by Black Sabbath. I want to talk about the Iron Man of the Vision. Peeps, Austin Theory is the Masked Man.
Yes.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Yes.
I threw out a whole bunch of different ideas. Who knows, those ideas can still come to fruition. But Austin Theory being the Masked Man.
Yes.
Peeps, again, remember what I told you? If it's theory, and it's only theory, then he is there to kill the Vision from the inside.
Okay.
That is what I'm going to tell peeps. Austin Theory. For people who always keep up with the rest of the story. A former member of Seth's Monday Night Messiah discipleship alongside Buddy Murphy.
Yes.
An individual who has history with Seth. People are going to go ahead and say, oh, well, why did he go ahead and get into the Vision's War Games match? Who did he attack? Yeah, who did he attack? Oh, yeah, that's right, CM Punk. Oh, wait, wait. Doesn't CM Punk have something Seth Rollins used to have possession of? And doesn't CM Punk also have major beef with Seth Rollins?
Yes.
That same CM Punk, right? Yeah, okay. So
Yes.
there's the logistics there. Theory has a hand in that. And that is a common man for the Vision. But don't you think, peeps, that Theory kind of being there wouldn't make sense? Because what would his history be with Seth that's negative when Seth never kicked him out?
Mm-hmm.
Peeps, he is going to kill the Vision from the inside. In the words of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, Seth Rollins is injecting his lethal dose of poison into the Vision. That's my thought process. Peeps, how do you feel about Theory being the masked man?
That definitely works. If they're solely going with the fact that he is the only masked man that they're using, and that's the end of it from where it goes, then that aspect of it definitely works. But where of the mindset of one of the stories that we've been talking about, that we've bantered on about over the last, say, 2 weeks, and what we talked about even last week, is that he's not the only one. And I think the thought process is that there may be another masked man. You know, that makes sense. Maybe there's a third masked man. Who knows? But I think if it's being done the right way, of the way I think it may be doing, this is part of what they're doing for a Chris Jericho return. I think that if we're going just based on the side that you've come up with, and the thought process is we're going to have Austin Theory come in and kind of destroy the Vision from the inside out, who is the person that is leading the way for Theory? Is Theory the lone wolf in this? Is this his plan? Or are these marching orders from somebody higher up above him to do that? Okay. Could this be a Paul Heyman, I'm going to destroy the Vision? Because as we've seen before, Paul Heyman has destroyed many a faction from the inside out. Who's to say that it wasn't Heyman that actually got Austin Theory to do this? Because he feels he's losing control of Braun Breaker. Who's to say that that's not the case? If we're looking at it from the standpoint of this, if this is a Chris Jericho idea of bringing him in, well, who else would they bring in that would be a masked man? Because I wouldn't be surprised if they threw in another person down the stretch to, like, wait a minute. We know that Austin Theory is the masked guy, so who's this other masked person?
Who are you still thinking, peeps?
It's something that I thought about probably within the last couple of days, and it's something that I didn't even realize was on social media or online until I actually looked. And the name that I heard bantied about initially was Montez Ford. And the reason why that was bantied about is because, let's really be honest, the Street Profits, I believe, as a tag team has almost run its course. I think that Montez Ford, and I made this prediction 2 years ago, that he was going to be main eventing WrestleManias at some point. He, as a singles wrestler, is a guy you can build around if he's able to stay healthy and you put him in the right situation. Who's to say that he couldn't be part of a faction of people that have been screwed over and they're trying to start some sort of injection of, you said, that poison to try to, from within, damage the Vision, see where that goes. And if it's Jericho, Jericho has beef with CM Punk over best in the world status. He does have Austin Theory, a young guy. And maybe, just maybe, if you put in a Montez Ford and let's say you've decided to split up the Street Profits and give him that singles push, you can start that up by bringing in the fact that, when am I going to start to become the star that I am? Everybody knows he's married to Bianca Belair, and Bianca has had the stardom. Bianca has main evented WrestleMania. Where is Montez Ford's push singularly? Why not have Jericho kind of pushed these guys into saying the vision is trying to stifle what you're doing. This is what we're trying to do to get these guys ready. Let's see what happens from there. It makes perfect sense.
You got a point. You know what, peeps? We got a couple more months till WrestleMania because, of course, the Royal Rumble is next month.
Yes.
Where did time go, peeps? The fact that it really
Yes.
feels like time has really gone by that long. Jeez.
Yes.
Like, well, you know what? Beyond all else, it is the 20th. Christmas is in a few days, of course. We won't be on then until the couple of days after. But beyond that, I want to be able, before we end the show, I want to be able to say Merry Christmas to all of the same family. Merry Christmas to the fans who watch this show, who enjoy time with us, and always having it be a time well spent. We hope that you guys enjoy the holidays with your family members, your loved ones. And beyond that, we'll go ahead and end this show here.
Yes.
Peeps, what a great episode. I appreciate you for going ahead and being on, doing the show with me, my friend.
Thank you.
We won't waste too much time. We'll go ahead and kick it off to that. But guys, just remember that this was another good episode of Saturday Afternoon's Main Event, where I, the phenomenal one,
and for my partner who is not here, Christopher Morton, this is the Peeps Nate, where we came,
we saw,
and in the words of the worrying oracle, we conquered.
We conquered, ladies and gentlemen. See you next week for the following episode of Same. Again, this was Saturday Afternoon's Main Event. I'm the phenomenal one. That's my co-host, the Peeps Nate. This was Same. Peace. Love. Farewell.
Merry Christmas.
Extreme.